Okay, this is the RSCni webinar on Tuesday the 14th of February at 12 o'clock, and the webinar subject is Apps for Science-Based Subjects. My name's Noel McDade. Okay, what is an app? An app is an abbreviation for application. An application is a piece of software that can run on a smartphone device or tablet device that's being brought more commonly into use now. What is it used for in teaching? Well, it can have many applications in teaching context. Primarily what we're looking at today is the content, which can be in some cases quite rich, and the interaction opportunities with learners. Most of the apps here will be able to be displayed on a projector or through the lecture's PC. And there are ways of doing that. If you want to explore it with RSC, please make contact with me at a later stage. Okay, there are thousands of apps that could be relevant to the science-based teaching areas. Finding the most appropriate one for your area and need is the most difficult part. So what are we doing today? We're going to be exploring apps that hopefully are related to science-based subjects for Apple devices only. What apps are we looking at? The apps we'll be looking at today will be in the anatomy. There's also a molecule app, and hopefully if I have time I'll go through some calculators. There are lots and lots more apps out there. I'm going to be primarily concerned with the free versions of them if I have the time, and it should take no longer than 20 minutes to complete. One little caveat to this presentation: I am not in any way, shape or form knowledgeable in science-based subjects. Not quite as bad as Manuel, but I will endeavour to demonstrate to the best of my ability some of the apps that may be of use in your subject areas. Just another point about this stream: we're trialling the USTREAM service for live webinars and events. Until we fully tested and ensured that it's worth the investment. The limitation of it, you'll have to put up with the odd advertisement, but hopefully in the future we'll address that by paying for the service. Okay, on to our first app, which is Science 365. This is a free app that's recently come on the Apple iTunes Store. Its uses are for cross-science subjects. The teaching applications are very good visual representations, identification and tagging. There's interactions and lots of high-definition videos and pictures available on this app. This is a demonstration for Science 360 for iPad. It's a free app created by the National Science Foundation and is a good tool for creating interest in the wonders of science. It's basically a huge big matrix of thumbnails. These thumbnails could be videos or high resolution images. The idea behind it really is to stimulate your learners' imaginations and kind of show them good documentary and pictures that they can explore in the wide array subject area in science, which could also be sports. The thumbnails, as you can see here, are arranged into an 18 by square matrix. There's a total of 216 squares, each containing a thumbnail, which you move with your finger across the iPad. You can scroll around and see all the kind of images and squares. Now if you zoom in closely, you can see that the videos are signified by play button, and if it hasn't got a play button, then obviously it's a picture. You can shrink the grid to increase the number of pictures or zoom in. The main difficulty with this application is that there's no ability to search for particular topics. It's just like shooting in the dark. It's great content, but it seems disorganized, and there's no real rhyme or reason as to the way the tiles and the image of the matrix is or laid out. If I click on one of the images here, it'll open it up in standard definition, because obviously a high resolution image is going to cause huge problems in bandwidth if you're not on a very high speed network. Whenever you click on the image, it loads up, as you can see here on the screen, with the description that you can kind of scroll down through. Clicking on the wee title button here gets rid of it, and you can see the full image of it. Now, as I said, it's shown here in standard definition, and as you can see down there, there's a high definition button. And what you can do is you can click this button to allow the download of the high definition image, and they're all freely available. That'll save it as a high definition image from then on. Next to the high definition button, there is another one where you can share the images or the videos on Twitter, Facebook, or send yourself the image in an email. Next to that, you have the favorites button. So by clicking on the star, you can save that image for future reference, and it puts it into almost like a bookmark area on the application for you. And the other one is the menu button, which takes you back to where you're at. One other thing to note is whenever you on the screen, if you use two fingers and double tap on the screen, you get access to your saved items. Okay. You can also tag and go into the news, so you can see any science-based news. If we select one of the videos here, you can see which way it's going to go. You get a bit of a description, and it launches into the video.
You never know where you're going to find inspiration. For mechanical engineer Dennis Hong.
You get the general idea. The reason that the demonstration there is a wee bit jittered is because my laptop is processing a lot of other stuff recording this demonstration, so the jitteriness will not actually be there whenever you go to it and use it within your iPad. So that's it. It's a great app. It visually is stunning. Being able to scroll around all the images. Its downsides are there's no way you could do any research. There's just almost like shooting in the dark. You can pick up basically what the things are from their thumbnails and their images on the screen, but there's no real way of telling until you actually click on it, and that is a small limitation of it. So that's it. That's Science 360. Okay, this is app number 2. It's called Virtual Heart. Its cost is free. The uses are primarily would be sports, basic anatomy and biology, and teaching applications are it's a very good visual representation, and there's good interactions, and it shows the kind of structures, the valves and the electrical system within the heart, and it shows you graphically how all these things interact and change with the differing beats per minute rating of the heart, which is configurable. So here's the demonstration. Okay folks, what we're going to look at here is the Virtual Heart app. This heart app is a very basic simulated heart that provides the students with a visual representation of the human heart and all the sounds associated with the opening and closing of the valves. This visual heart can be quite easily changed by moving and swiping your finger up and down the actual representation of the heart. So as you can see on the screen here, what we've got is a very basic layout. We have the animation of the heart, and you can see the valves inside and almost an overlay of the outer layer as well. This starts off at an almost half and half feature. So if I move my hands and swipe up and down, you can see it starts from the top, from the exterior, moving down slowly to the bottom of the heart, the complete dissected heart, where you can see the valves pulsing away. The only other thing really about it is you can change the beats per minute, and the advantage of that is that you can see the way and hear the way the heart reacts to different pulses and beats of the heart. So what you do here is you click the left and right arrows at the beats per minute window up the top here. So if we slowly increase this, you can see the animation starts to beat faster. Hold it down and you see, there you go. Now you may not be able to hear, but the rhythm of the heart is all there inside the app, and you'll be able to play that on an electronic whiteboard. The other thing you have in here, which is quite useful, is the labels. So if we click the labels button, you're able to display with drop points the different parts of the interior of the heart. And the same applies for the other elements. Inside the scroll window down here, you can select the different elements of the heart. The next one to look at is the electrical system. So whenever you click on that, you can see the pulses of electricity running through the heart and where the nerves carry them. And again, the same thing with the swipe. You can start from the top and make your way into the center and back up again. Okay. And the labels again. The other one is take a deeper look at the valve with the labels on. And finally, a look at the blood flow. Okay, it's a very, very simple app. It's free. It's got good animations. There's good potential there to display this on your whiteboard through your projector on the lecturer's PC as a visual way of reinforcing the learning with the students on the anatomy of the heart. The only one other thing you have is if you want to make full screen, you click the magnifying glass up the top left hand corner here. When you do that, the animation goes full screen. You're still able to swipe up and down the image, and it goes from an exterior to interior. Okay, and that's it. Okay, this is app number 3. Its name is Fami Shoulder. The cost is free. It's great uses in sports, basic anatomy and biology. The teaching applications are, it gives good visual representation, there is good interactions, and there's good guides there for studying. Fami Shoulder, the app on the iTunes App Store. Fami stands for Functional Anatomy for Movement and Injuries. This app is concerned with the shoulder joint. It's designed for fitness professionals and science teachers, and this app is great for demonstrating the anatomy and movements of the shoulder joint. Includes the principles of shoulder movement, the specifics of movement to the joint, and let's go and have a quick look at the app. This app is free on the iTunes App Store, and if we go into the first menu, you can see it's set out in tutorial style. So we have an introduction at the top here, the introduction to the shoulder movements, and then all the different components that make up the shoulder and its movement. So if we, I don't know if you notice, you have the main picture and the menu over to the right. It's laid out in tutorial style, so you get the whole story that goes along with it and the training, and any picture that you see you can click on and it changes the main picture, as you can see here on the left hand side. Now these are all in high definition and are pretty good images. Now one of the things you'll notice down here is you'll see there's layers and frames. Now the frames are concerned with the whole ability to move and navigate around it, and how you do it is you use 2 fingers to swipe, and you can actually move the joints that and the images that you're particularly looking for, and if you click on them, it highlights either the muscle, the point, the bone or the joint, and it'll name the particular thing you're highlighting at the top here. So if I click on that there and the bone here, okay, and you can continue to move it across. Okay, as you can see, this app introduction goes through the different bones. You can select the skeletal, other animations on the types of bones that make it up, and then it goes into detailed descriptions of the actual bones and the joints that go along with it. It's pretty good. All these images are in high definition, and we have the muscles for the joint on further down. Okay, so that was the introduction. Then it goes into the actual shoulder movements. Okay, in this one, in regards to movement, you have two layers. The exact same area of the joint, the exact same look and feel, but you have two layers. Layer 1 is the actual bones itself, and layer 2 is the representation of the actual joint in mechanical form. And what you can do is you can move these around to demonstrate how they move in relation to the bones. Change the layer, and if we select the other layer for the initial layer for the bones, you can do the same thing with the bone movement and show how it moves. Okay. Within each of these tutorials, you notice down the right hand side that you have videos of the movement, which kind of reinforces the learning. And these can all be clicked and played from within the app itself. Okay, we go back out to the menu. Okay, by clicking on one of the actual movements, you get access to a large image of the skeletal in that position, and same as the rest of them, you can move across them. If you scroll down, you get access to the videos about the motion, and you can also have a look at the muscles that are involved with that movement, including the deltoid and the biceps and all these other ones, which again are totally movable, that you can navigate through them. On scrolling down, you can see the exercise and videos of the exercises for them, and as you can see, this would be very useful in the sports studies. Okay, that's the Fami Shoulder app. I really like this app. There aren't too many apps out there as good a quality as this without costing large amounts of money. You can really tell that the folks who developed this resource did so out of passion for the subject, trying to fill an area of the market where something like this didn't exist for teachers and students. The app can be used as content for your class on shoulder joints. It could also be useful for students if they have a tablet device to explore the joints and play with the movement. If you're a lecturer and had the device connected to a whiteboard, you could give students the tablet in their seats and allow them to interact with the animations and make a game out of the movements and naming the bones and muscles. App number 4 is called Visual Anatomy Lite. Its cost is free, but there is limitations with the amount of content and the imagery. There is a paid version 2 which you can upgrade to, and its uses would be in sports, basic anatomy and biology as well. The teaching applications are good visual representations, interaction, and again study guides. Okay, this is the demonstration of Visual Anatomy Lite. It's built as an interactive reference and educational tool, and as the name suggests, it's a free version and has limitations in the amount of content, but it's still a very good app to engage learners, and there are downsides of advertisements embedded in the screen, and we'll get into that later. And the advertisement says that the Lite version contains 20 high-resolution images and more than 300 feature points, which can be interactively selected. Okay, in the main menu system, as you can see, there are a load of topic areas that you can go into to see the images, and it's a very good reference point. Within the Grey's Anatomy button, you can go through all these different topic areas, or you can choose to select the first one and go through the images one by one. Now, these images sometimes can be more detailed than others, but there is the options to jump to the images that you want to reinforce. Now, if this was displayed on a whiteboard, you have the additional features of a tablet device by being able to scroll in and annotate the images within the electronic whiteboard, which could be useful. Each of the images come with their own descriptions down the bottom here, and a back button. The back button obviously will take you back to the previous screen. Okay. There's also a search menu, so if you wanted to search through all the images to find the topic or image that you require. So if we just go back out and go into the circulation, another high definition image where you can click on the drop points here, and it'll name each of the veins in the circulatory system. Okay, and the rest of them are more or less the same, all these high res images with descriptions along the bottom. Okay, back out in the main menu, you get the general idea of it. There's also the ability to go in here to the quiz, and your students can answer some quiz. This could be used within the classroom as a interaction, and the tablet device could be handed to the students to answer the questions. Okay, you get the general idea. Okay, but it does give you the answers, the correct answer. That's it for Visual Anatomy Lite. There is a full version of it, which is priced currently at £1.49 in the iTunes store. This app obviously is the full version with lots more. This is app number 5. It's called 3D Brain. Its cost is free. The uses are in basic anatomy and biology, and some sports applications as well in terms of brain injury and potential from sports. The teaching applications are very good visual representations and interactions with the brain. Okay, what we have here is an application called 3D Brain. It's another anatomy application. It's completely free on the iTunes store, and it's a 3D graphical representation of the structures of the brain. And it works similar to the way the other ones would. You can move the image in 3D. Okay, you can go up and under. Okay, on the right hand side you'll see the key. So the first one is the structures. So that's basically the structures of the brain. So you can jump to different parts of the brain and interact with it the exact same way. Okay, there's also a button on the right hand side for info, and it's just a basic study guide as to the overview of it, the associated functions of that part of the brain, any associated cognitive disorders, damaged substructures, and then the research elements of it, which is very useful. The other bit that you can use is the labels button, which when clicked on any of these images will display what you see on the screen here. The labels with drop points on the actual structure itself. That's about it. There are other structures to go through. There's nothing much more to say about this. Free, very useful tool. The last app we have here is called Molecules. Its cost is free, it's open source, it's a very good product. Its uses are in chemistry. The teaching applications are visual representation of molecules and their structures. The identification of the elements, it's quite easy in the app with color coding. There's good interactions and different ways of displaying the molecules, and it's completely updatable by allowing you to download the free open source molecules on a searchable database. Okay, we're going to have a look at the Molecules app, which again is available in the iPhone store. And what you have here is a three-dimensional rendering of molecules. What you can basically do with this is manipulate the molecules for teaching in the classroom. They're all high definition images. At the minute we have a few in here, so if I pick a fairly easy one to begin with. So this is the molecule structure of the caffeine, and what it basically shows is a basic ball and stick diagram that in the past may have been constructed inside the lab. What you can do now, automatically it pans and zooms across, but you can manipulate this by stopping it, pressing it, and you can move it whatever way you want. You can zoom in, zoom back out again. Up here in the top hand corner there's a palette button. If you click the palette button, you can actually see the graphical representation, the color of the actual element that make up the molecule. So in this case you have the nitrogen, the carbon and the hydrogen molecules. There's also another way of displaying it other than the ball and stick, which is space filling. It just renders the molecule in a slightly different way, more realistic. And you can do the same, you can turn it around, you can automatically press the button there to automatically let it spin, you can zoom in and zoom out, and it's the same for all the rest of the molecules that are listed here. It's the DNA structure, and you can zoom in, zoom out and find out what each of the elements actually are within it. It's a great teaching aid that could be used up in the board with your students. Just another point to note, although this only contains 6 or 7 molecules, there are options to include more molecules and search them from the databank. This app is completely free, it's an open source product, so it's doubtful that it'll be ever charged for. And most molecules will be up there on the database. So what we're going to do here is just do a search for some other type of a molecule. Up on the top left hand side here you'll see a plus button. If you click on the plus button you get a, apologies for the slight break in communication there. Okay, whenever you click on the plus button you get this search bar. So if you can search for a molecule in here, and it'll go off and search the web. It has to be web connected for the search string, and if you find the particular alcohol molecule that you like to display, what it does is it goes and downloads that for you, and you can interact with it the same way you would do the other molecules that are listed in here. So that is a alcohol molecule. Okay, it's a very straightforward tool. It's very easy, it's free, it's absolutely fantastic as a teaching aid, as a teaching tool, and get using it. Okay, and a final note, people, remember there are loads of apps out there for your chosen subject. There are loads of apps that I haven't included that may or may not include a fee that I haven't demonstrated here today. I hope you were inspired to investigate the possibility of using apps in your teaching and learning. As I say in the last point, and the next hurdle is using the devices on our networks, which can be a problem, but it's not insurmountable. If you're interested in pursuing the apps in your teaching, feel free to get in touch with me or the support helpline at Regional Support Centre. Okay, thanks very much. The recording here will be updated very soon on the RSCniTV on the Teaching and Learning portal, so go there or send me an email and I'll send you the link to it. Okay, thanks folks.